Hello and welcome to day 4 of the Floral Craft Countdown, where I'm showing you how to make 14 flower-themed Cricut paper craft projects over 14 days. Can you guess what today's project is from what you can see on the screen? No, it's not the flowers, it's what the flowers are in. Today we're making these absolutely beautiful paper craft vases, which are great for displaying artificial flowers like these. 2 different vases are included in today's download. You've got this one, which has the kind of spherical design, and also a square vase instead. They go together in very similar ways, so for this video I'm going to show it to you with this one, but if you're putting together this one, it's pretty much exactly the same technique to do it. There are 3 pattern versions of each of these included too, or should I say 3 variations. So there's one which is the ones you can see with this gorgeous flower pattern on the sides. You've also got one that has an empty side on each of these so that you can add your own designs into the side of the vases. And as demonstrated by this teeny tiny version, there's also one that doesn't have any cutouts on the sides for a more traditional look to the vase. For example, on the one that comes with the blank space so that you can add any pattern, I added this holly design in Cricut Design Space. If you'd like to know how to customize the vase designs with your own patterns, check out the link in the description of this video, as I'll link there to a Christmas ornament video I did last Christmas, which is exactly the same technique. That was for a 3D Christmas bauble, which follows the same kind of slot together technique as these vases. And that came with sides that you can personalize too. But for everything vase related, this is the video you need. So let's find out where to get the files and then what we need to do to get them cut out in Cricut Design Space. Let's get started. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Floral Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/floral. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you have missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/floral bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Floral Craft Countdown, plus loads of extra bonus designs. The download comes in a zip folder. You will need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. This is what the spherical vase looks like when it's loaded into Cricut Design Space. You'll see all of the pieces separated on the screen, and this is the one with the flower panels in the side, but it will work the same whether you're using the one without any cutouts on the side or the one with the space for you to add your own custom decorations. For a video on how to add your own custom decorations, check the link in the description of this video. This comes at a really good size for putting flowers in. You'll get a good amount in there. It's nice and tall so that you can get it to stand up nicely with the weight of the flowers in it. But if you did want to resize it, here's how you would do that. First, ungroup all the layers by pressing the Ungroup button at the top of the Layers panel. You can see the height of the design by clicking on one of the main vase shapes, so it's almost 8.5 inches tall. It's a bit harder to tell the width, but generally the width of it along the base is kind of the width of it from all the way from left to right, so we're looking at about 4.75 inches by default. To resize it, press Select All along the top and then Align, Center to put everything one on top of the other. So now everything fits within the size of the outline main bits of the vase. So you can group everything again by pressing the Group button and then resize it. For example, maybe we could go 6 inches tall and press Enter on your keyboard, and that will change the height in proportion. So now you'd know that this is going to make a vase that's 6 inches tall instead. But I'm going to do mine as it comes, so I'll just undo all that and put it back to where it was. There's nothing that you actually need to change in Design Space. There's no score lines or anything like that. The only thing I just wanted to make you aware of are these pieces here. These are designed to be glued to the back of the sides of the vase. If you're thinking of putting fairy lights inside your vase, or if you want to have kind of a subtle see-through effect, then cut these pieces here from vellum or tracing paper or something that's kind of translucent so that you can see through a little bit. But for more of a kind of colourful, brighter, bolder vase, then cut them from coloured cardstock or coloured paper in a nice colour that will show up nicely through the gaps in the side. So I'm going to go straight ahead and click on Make, and I'm not going to save it because I haven't actually changed anything, and that will separate out all the colours for you. You can change the paper size in here, and you can move things about if you want to. I'm just going to double check on this. It does still fit on A4 paper, so you can see you can still fit that on there, and I believe it fits on US letter paper too. Yes, it does. Let's go ahead and get everything cut out, and then we'll see how to put together the vase. If you're making the square version instead, it's got slightly less pieces, as that goes on a kind of two piece base rather than the spherical one, which is 3 pieces, and you've only got 4 sides on the square one as opposed to 6 on the spherical one. When you're happy with how it's all looking, press continue to connect to your Cricut, follow the steps to cut everything out from cardstock, and then we'll put it together. Here are all the pieces of my vase cut out, and I have done the one with the flowery sides. Fair warning, these do take a while to cut out with all of those patterns. And then I've cut the inner bits from a kind of tracing paper or vellum type material, so they'll be a little bit see-through. I've put all of this in the order that it will be gone together in. So with the outside, you want to start, your first piece will be the one with a slit in the bottom, comes down from the top. That's number 1. The second one is the one that's got a slit on the top and the bottom of that section. And then the third, is the one where it's got the slit in the bottom. So 1, 2, 3. And then we'll be putting these circles together in order from smallest to biggest. I'll start with the outline. So here's my one with the slit in the top, and then that's going to go in the bottom of that one all the way down. So you end up with a cross shape. And then hold them flat against each other. It's a little tricky because these bits are thin. Be careful you don't tear anything. There we go. And then take your third one, which is the one with the slit in the bottom, and that goes over the top. And again, we'll push all the way to the bottom. And then you end up with one that will open like that, and you've got your 6 bits along the bottom. If you're making the square version of the vase, it's a little bit different, and you've only got 2 to slot together rather than 3, because that one works off of a square model rather than a circular one. But apart from that, it is kind of the same thing. Okay, so now we can start giving this some stability, because that's not going to hold any flowers at the moment. Take the smallest ring. This one isn't even a ring because there's nothing in it. It's just a circle. And this is going to go in these bottom bits, in all of these slits along the bottom. Those tiny slits in there correspond to the slits in the side of this. And if you've made any of my other slot together designs, then this concept will be very familiar to you. But if this is the first one and you'd like to make some of the others, check out my website for lots more slot together designs. There's a fair few free ones available, including a Thanksgiving turkey, Easter chick, Easter bunny, Christmas snowman, and a Christmas lantern, which follows the kind of square design like this one. They're just so fun to make. Okay, so I've slotted that in, making sure that all of those are now nicely held in place. And I think I might have missed that one actually. Just put that down. So it should be nice and flat when it's all in. Reminds me of a jellyfish at the moment. All right, the next one we want is the largest. That's why we put it in smallest to largest, so that we could easily see which one was the biggest. And that is going to go inside the hooks. That's the next one up from the bottom. And it's a little fiddly. I'm not sure how I'm going to show this, but you want to slide it in, and then the hook on the edge of the vase tucks into the hole and will go underneath it. So we've sort of hooked it into position there, and then it will hold. I'll try and do the next one at an angle so you can see. So it's going in to that little gap on the outside, and then the hook goes through the hole like a hanger, clothes hanger, so it pokes through the bottom. Then it's the same thing for all of the rest of them. Right, this is starting to take a little bit more shape. We've now got that second piece of the structure in. So now we can move on to the largest bit we've got left, and this goes into the next set of hooks. So it's the same thing. We're sliding it in and then put the sort of hanging bit through the hole. Like, come on. Like that. There we go. And I've managed to get it threaded onto my hand. That wasn't very clever. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for all of these. Beginning to look more vase-like. And I've actually just missed that one. It hasn't quite tucked in like it's supposed to. There we go. Then we've got one left, which is going to go at the very top in these final hooks along the top. This time we don't have the extra holes for the little hanger bits to go in. They're just going to go sort of in one of these slits and then over to the other side. Right, that's all of those bits tucked in, although I've missed that one. There we go. So it's so hard to show this project. They sort of all hang over in the end. And just check to make sure none of your others have popped out, like this one. Just put that back in. If any of the others have popped out, just place them back in those holes. They shouldn't pop out again once the sides are on, because we're wiggling and jiggling this card about so much, it can make them pop out. And we've ended up with this structure now. We've got all of our pieces in place. The reason we need 3 separate rings is to give it stability, so that if you hand this to someone, you see it's rigid. I'm not going to push it in and break it. It's really sturdy, and it also gives it more stability to add flowers inside. We can now put that to one side, thankfully, and glue in the sides if you're using the cutout sides. I'm going to turn all of these. My card is textured on one side, so I've got a definitive right and wrong way to do them. And then glue this to the back. Make sure you've got them the right way round, because one side is thinner than the other. I'm using barely art glue, but any glue that doesn't bend or wrinkle the card will be fine. And I'm just going to add my glue around here, a thin line around the edge of the pattern. And then put this in place. It doesn't go all the way to the edge of the green or whatever colour you've done it in, so don't put your glue too close to the very edges on here, otherwise it won't fit. So I'm just doing a thin line about halfway into that border space, and I need to repeat that for every single side. There are 6 sides in total if you're doing this vase, or 4 sides if you're doing the square one. That's all of those done, and then we can start slotting them in. So you see that's just given it a kind of subtle backing behind it, and it means if you wanted to put some fairy lights inside you could, and then it would show through, but equally you can fill it with a solid colour instead. Okay, so these go in with the smaller tab at the top of the vase and the bigger tab, which looks like a kind of almost Easter egg type shape, at the bottom of the vase. So we'll go the little one first, I think. Doesn't actually matter, but this one looks more fiddly, so I'm going to go for it first. Tuck that in so it goes through the hole. Be careful not to rip anything. And then bend it upwards a little bit and put the bottom bit through the bottom of the hole. And then that will hold it in place. And then do the same for the other sides. Just taking a pause because one of my sides has come off where I didn't quite have that hooked over right. Let's see if I can put this back in. I used a thin card for this vase and that was a foolish idea. Thicker card would have worked better. There we go. And then my last side. The last bit's when it all kind of comes into place and fills it in. You can give it a little wiggle if you've got some gaps. But then, there you go. Your paper vase is all ready to have some flowers in it. And that will just go in there and hold it. These are probably a bit heavy, but you see if they are heavy, it will kind of bulge outwards. It still looks really nice, but it will look much nicer with lighter flowers in it. The lighter the flowers you put in it, the better it will look. So I could do it with this pre-made bouquet. The reason this is so heavy is because it's got this giant plastic bit on the bottom. If I use some wire cutters and snip them all here, it will actually go in much, much better. In fact, I'm actually going to just go and do that and then show it to you. Okay, so I've chopped off the bottom just with some regular wire cutters. And now those flowers are fitting much better in my vase. It's not distorting the sides. It fills it really, really beautifully. It's hard to kind of show it to you, but this is so lovely. It's such a pretty way to hold your flowers. Now mine just kind of went in the top and that was fine, but if yours are on a long stem, particularly if it's thin, then you might want to get some florist foam or similar, even a piece of old polystyrene from some packaging. For example, if you've had something delivered in the mail and it's come with some polystyrene in it, or thick cardboard perhaps, or foam, then put some of this in the bottom of the vase before you put the sides on, and then you can poke all the wire of the flowers into that and it will hold your flowers in place a little bit better. But here's my vase, and then don't forget you've also got the square version too, and a blank version that comes with empty spaces on the sides so you can add your own patterns. I added a holly design to this one, and the tutorial for that is in the link in the description. And of course, you can make super duper tiny ones too, and it also comes with the sides filled in for if you'd prefer to make one without the patterns. But we're crafters, right? More specifically, we're paper crafters. So as much as these flowers are beautiful, wouldn't it be really nice if we had some handmade flowers to go in our handmade vase? Well, you're just going to have to wait and see what comes out in the rest of this Floral Craft Countdown to see if that dream can become a reality. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make 3D slot-together paper craft vases with your Cricut machine. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut paper crafts and flower ideas. I hope to see you tomorrow for day 5 of the Floral Craft Countdown. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!